Hi everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at a crude oil exam question. Quite a popular question, and it does come up quite a lot, and some of these model answers will be hopefully useful to you if some of these questions appear again in your exams. So it says some fractions of crude oil are processed to produce fuel for transport. Describe how crude oil was formed. Now this is quite a popular question. It's sometimes 3 marks, and in this case it's 4. So number one, we need to say that it is plankton. So the plankton that you've got, they basically die. They become buried in the mud. And that statement is actually quite an important one. They then become compressed. And this process takes millions of years. So that is a good question that could come up. Common wrong answers in this are dead sea creatures fall to the bottom of the ocean, get crushed over a long time. If you say that, it's not that you don't understand the concept, you're not going to hit any of the key points. So it's really super important that you get those points in there. So second one, part B, it says transport is a source of atmospheric pollutants. Suggest how sulfur dioxide can be produced. So in our fuels like petrol, diesel, sulfur impurities are present in fuels, and we can't really do that much about that. We've tried to minimise that by using low sulfur diesel and low sulfur fuels, but you still get them. So that sulfur then reacts with oxygen. So it reacts with oxygen in the car engine, and that produces sulfur dioxide. Okay, so it reacts with oxygen to produce sulfur dioxide in the car engine. And that's because air goes into the engine as well as the fuel, and that mixture is inevitably going to produce that sulfur dioxide product. Now, the sulfur dioxide is a pollutant and it gives very specific effects. Now, the first one is acid rain. A lot of people will forget that, but it's acid rain, and it is it's one of the two things that sulfur dioxide does. The second one is respiratory problems. Okay, so respiratory problems. A lot of people don't know the second one. You're not going to get things like global warming or toxic. They're not going to allow those. It's better to say acid rain, respiratory problems. Your carbon dioxide, if they ask about that, that causes global warming. That's okay to say that. But sulfur dioxide is quite specific. It's acid rain, and in this case, respiratory problems. So a couple of questions there that quite common. It then says, describe how carbon monoxide is produced. Now, carbon monoxide, for those that don't know, is a toxic gas, and it has the formula CO. Not to be confused with CO2, which is carbon dioxide, which is, as we mentioned above, a greenhouse gas. Now, carbon dioxide is formed if you've got complete combustion with plenty of oxygen. However, if you have incomplete combustion, so if your fuels are burnt in a limited supply of oxygen, then CO is produced. Okay, and that's because you've got a lack of oxygen. So if you think about it, if I'm burning a fuel and the fuel contains carbon, so it could be like methane, CH4. The fuel contains carbon. If I've got lots of oxygen, each carbon's going to get 2 each, and it's going to be CO2. If I've not got much oxygen, it's going to produce CO, which is toxic, and generally that will give you an orange flame. If you're getting CO2, it will be a nice clean blue flame, which is a good sign. If you're getting carbon, which is smoky soot, then you're getting incomplete combustion as well. So if you're getting carbon and soot, chances are you're going to be getting carbon monoxide. But carbon monoxide is the problem. That's the toxic gas. Okay. Now, question E, catalytic converters are fitted to car exhaust to reduce the amount of pollution from cars. Carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide react and produce nitrogen and carbon dioxide. Write a balanced equation for this. Now, they've given you lots of information in the question. We know that carbon monoxide is CO, so we know that's going to react. And we know NO2 is going to react because they've given me that in the question. They've then told me it makes nitrogen, which is N2, and carbon dioxide as a product. So to balance that, I need to put a 4 there and a 4 there, and then 2 in front of the NO2 to balance that up. Now, the video on balancing equations will go through that process for you. If you don't balance it right, you still get 1 mark for putting the equation with the symbols. Obviously, every symbol is given to you apart from N2, but there's an expectation in the atmosphere topic that you know that nitrogen in the air, which is around about 78% of the air, is N2 as a formula. So I always say, just be aware that all of your non-metals, or the vast majority of them, are diatomic. So if you have a non-metal, oxygen is O2, hydrogen, H2, fluorine, F2, and on and so on and so on. So usually in non-metal elements, covalent structures have, simple structures, are diatomic molecules if you're ever unsure. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.